Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Hump Day Hotline on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. It is so good to have every single one of you joining us. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, alongside my co-host, Jay Spence the King. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Spence the King. It is so good to have, like I said, every single one of you with us. Whatever platform you are consuming this live video broadcast on, please please subscribe. Do us a favor and help us get our numbers up so we can reach more folks. Please do us a favor as well. Share if you've got a friend that you
hump
might
that
enjoy.
Like, Joe. What are you talking about? Hump day. It's hump day.
And I forgot the video. I forgot the graphic again.
Put it on the screen.
I forgot the graphic again. Like, I had time today to do it too. So, so hump
Slacker.
I'm definitely not doing something right. So somebody needs to fire this old man, and it might just be you. But so do us a favor, hump that like, subscribe, share, whatever platform you are listening to this in post as a podcast. Same situation. It is so good to have all of you here. But with all of that noise and the technical difficulty at the top, Jay Spencer King, my man, how are you?
Man, I'm good. How are you? It's good to see all the people, all the regulars and stuff. It's good to see.
Bouncing. See, we came back, then they come back, and then the Bills come back, and next thing you know, like, hopefully we make it to the Super Bowl. That's how this works, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, well, it's the preseason, so obviously it's a whole lot of overreaction, which is good to talk about on this network.
Unintended.
But, I already know you kind of gave your take a couple times this week, but overall, how did you feel about the game? Like, just what did you walk away from this game with any feeling of?
So I did the post-game show alone this week because John and Jerry were at the Kelly Gala. I was actually at the Kelly Gala with them for the Kelly for Kids Gala, and they were unable to record because they didn't bring any of their gear. They don't travel like you do, Spence. Yeah. They don't travel with all their gear, all their equipment. They're slackers, man. They might not be as committed to the craft as. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But they were indisposed, is that right? On Sunday. So I did the show by myself, and effectively for me, it was a preseason game. I mean, I appreciate Sean McDermott's comments as it pertains to, when you put on those colors, when you wear this uniform, there's an expectation. And for me, it came down to the semantics of the word win. The expectation is to always win. Well, what do you mean by win? Do you mean win at the individual level, at the rep level, at the play level, the series level? Are you talking about the game? I mean, is the expectation to win every preseason game? Because I don't think Sean McDermott even has kind of like inferred that over his tenure here. So as much as there was some lack of effort in the third and fourth stringers, player falls down and then gets up because he isn't touched and takes off again type stuff, because people are just kind of like, oh, can we get out of this game as soon as possible? Which I basically connected to the fact that a lot of your captains, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, guys that bleed that effort and that energy, and we're all our third and fourth stringers that were not going to make this team were always trying to win preseason games, even if we didn't win. And you always saw those captains on the sideline with towels, like cheering guys on and having fun. And that's kind of moved on. So there's like a new sheriff in town, right? So do you correct it? Do you care?
That's an interesting point, because that's one of the things that not I don't want to specifically say Jordan and Micah. Because I think Trey White is going to be missed. I think you can include Jordan and Micah as well, but you can also include Mitch Morse. I think Mitch Morse was like the team's dad in a way. And I think when you talk about this new era of younger players, because it is a lot younger of a team, they've made a lot of changes, and which is a good thing. It's a really good thing. But I think that's one of the things that I'm concerned about missing is on those Sundays when it's, obviously Josh is a leader and Josh is going to get the team going how he gets it going. But you're foolish if you don't believe that those leaders that we just talked about, you're foolish if you don't think that their energy and their presence isn't going to be missed just from that perspective. But I'm with you though. It's a preseason game. Like, I looked at the whole thing like, to me, the offense looks fine. Like,
yeah.
I know Jimmy Cooks didn't really get to take off and do much of anything, but I didn't expect him to.
Nope.
I'm glad that McDermott was smart enough to pull Josh. I mean, I think they were going to pull him regardless if he ran that last play or not.
Yep.
I think they said the first quarter and then you're out.
Yep.
But the way he's out, cool. I think we know what we have. I think Curtis Samuel is absolutely my favorite offensive player on the Buffalo Bills. I think
love it.
Like, yeah, I think after Josh Allen, my favorite player is Samuel Curtis. Like, it's
one play, and Curtis Samuel is the man.
It's not even just the play. No, I'm not saying like he's the man. Like, I don't think he's gonna be like Debo or nothing like that or whoever. But you can see exactly what they thought when they drafted him. Like, you can kind of see it now. It's like, okay, we finally have Curtis Samuel with our Cam Newton, because that was the original plan, right? Like, they wanted to pair those guys up, and you can see it. And again, it was just a play. It was a couple plays that he was out there to block, and I'm excited about that connection. I think if you're going to do your fantasy football draft and you're talking about drafting the Buffalo Bills player for offense, Curtis Samuel has to be near the top of that list if it's not just Josh Allen.
I like a lot where you went with that. Curtis Samuel was the one play he executed better than anybody we've seen execute that play in probably 4 years. 3 years, 4 years. Yeah, since John Brown. Yeah, that's exactly right. Since John Brown. So I don't know if there's a slipperiness to that or what is going on, but as far as like the way you see it, the way you work through it, there's an ad playing. I don't know why there's an ad playing this early in our show. We're 7 minutes in and there's an ad playing, but it is what it is. Sorry, I get distracted by easy things. But things that annoy me anyway. As far as that goes, like it was great to see, and you hope to see more of it. You hope it wasn't necessarily just like a gimmick that they were going to do or did in the preseason, and they won't come back to it. That's a facet of the offense I would love to see come back. There's a lot of conversation around Khalil Shakir. I keep hearing more and more people talk about Shakir being the next Cole Beasley. The first time I heard it was from Pat Moran from Talking Buffalo, and my response was kind of like McDermott's response to, how do you replace Stephon Diggs? And he said, you don't. Like, you can't replace Stephon. Like, to me, it's like, no. There's only one Cole Beasley. I like Shakir. Yeah. Shakir did a lot last year. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I don't give a crap where he was drafted, right? Great wide receivers are found late in the draft, even still. It's been seen and proven over and over again. But to me, give me a call when he's leading the league in separation, yards of separation, 3 years in a row, right? Now we're talking about him being the next Cole Beasley. And then there was a couple people on Twitter that were like, I think he might be better than Cole Beasley. And I'm like, all right, stop. And then there was somebody else in the national front that was listening to One Bill's Drive that was talking about, it might have been Greg Cosell that said the same thing. Like, I really like Shakir. I think he's a good replacement for Cole Beasley. And I was like, all right, can we stop? Let's pause a little bit. Like, I hope so, but let's pause.
But I don't even want to put that pressure on
right.
Khalil. Like, I like what we've seen out of him last season. I thought that him being himself was enough. I like how he fits in this offense. I think the couple of plays that he and Josh were on the field together, you could see their chemistry still. And I think you're going to continue to see it. And I think he's going to continue to grow. But I don't even want to put a pressure of saying that he's going to be a second team, all-pro player with Josh Allen. I don't want to put that on him. What I do want is for him to continue to play at the high level that he's been playing at.
Yeah.
Don't drop passes.
Which he doesn't.
Now, that's something that concerned me over the weekend. I understand, like, again, it's preseason and stuff like that. But when you look at MVS, he was dropping passes for the Chiefs basically all the last season. You look at there were other plays to be made where guys were
KJ Hamler was another one. KJ Hamler dropped a pass, big pass.
And so for me, it's a concern because last year and the year before, we've had some concerns with drops. And that was part of the reason why we made some of the moves we made. And again, I know Kincaid wasn't a big part of the offense Saturday, and I know we didn't have a game plan. So I'm literally just like nitpicking on things. We lost, we got blown out in the preseason game, but to me, when I look at this, it's like I don't have a lot of things to jump and be like, all right, here's my notepad of keys to victory for the Bills next week. I look at little things where I say, okay, I think this is kind of what matters in this game, or this is where the coaches are kind of looking at when they're doing these things.
I like it.
Versus, hey, we're lining up. And I know it's always we want to win. I get it. Every time you go out there, you compete. But I don't really think I agree with you. The focal point isn't like, all right, let's go out there and we're making the Super Bowl in week 1 of the preseason. That's not, I don't think that was the goal.
Yeah, it was definitely an effort conversation. It was a head in the game. It was I think there's probably a measure of people knowing their assignments and what they were supposed to do in any given play that coach was probably more mad about. But when you're talking about shaping this roster, which is kind of what you're alluding to, it's a great segue into just one of the topics we want to talk about that everybody's talking about, which is Matt Milano. Matt Milano injured again, so it's a new injury. It has not been disclosed yet. We did a lot of speculating on the Beat program yesterday with Josh Reed, and that was a fantastic interview. I don't know if you have not watched that interview, those of you that are listening or listen to it, Josh Reed was great. His energy was great. He was transparent. He brought a lot of good information that a lot of times people hold close to the vest. I can't wait to get him back on again. We're trying to get him back on. We are booked through the 1st of October. So I'm trying to get him on in October. But he said that it didn't look like a torn bicep. What he said was, like, when he looked up, Milano kind of had walked off the field and basically was kind of waving his arm around. And then he was over with the trainers, and he actually did a push-up and I think he did one or two, like he did a normal push-up, and then he did kind of like a slow negative push-up, like super slow, and then back out again, which if you're doing that, you're not really doing that with a torn bicep. Jerry kind of possibly questioned whether or not maybe it was a pec issue, that, it was, possibly a slight, like a sprain, whatever you want to talk about as far as that goes. But I think it just speaks more to just Matt Milano in general. I'm not saying that he's injury prone, but are we approaching an area where he is? Is this just a fluke type of a thing? Is this a problem? Can the Bills win without him? I think they can. The Bills won games last year, significant games without him last year. Would like to know just kind of your thoughts on if this is an extended injury for him, just kind of where it puts your head with him.
See, I don't know. I hesitate to label guys and say, oh, he's injury prone. It's a tough game, and it's one of those games where, you can go your whole career without an injury, and then something simple happens, and it's a fluke type deal. But I think Matt Milano is the player that we need on defense. I think, yes, we've won games in the past without him, but I think the team was composed differently, and I felt like you could lose. For however many weeks, you could lose a Matt Milano when you had, the guys the depth on defense that we had. I don't know if I'm confident. Last week on the show, I talked about how the defense was really my only real concern for this team, and not just the secondary, like even the defensive line and the linebackers, like in total, the defense. And so for Matt Milano, this is a huge hit. And I do want to do one comment. Somebody, T Jab, says Trey hasn't played for years. He will not be missed. I just want to say how much of this is so wrong, whether he plays or not. I'm first, respect and thank you for joining us, T Jab. But the energy that Tre'Davious White brings to the team, that he brings to the team, the organization in general, him being a part of that building, I promise you, it is going to be missed. Like, Tre'Davious White is one of the most beloved players who was in the building. He was most beloved outside of the building. I know everybody saw that interview where he joked, like, if I intercept Josh Allen, they're going to cheer for me. There's a good portion of Bills Mafia that will cheer for him, and I'm part of it. Trey White is going to be missed. Like, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, for sure. But as far as Milano goes, you've got to look at kind of where the Bills turn to if this is an extended injury, and we hope that it's not. We hope that it's just something subtle. And Josh Reed, what's up?
No, I'm saying it's just not much out. So it's hard to speculate, like you said.
That's what Josh Reed said. So I asked that question: what are the expectations? Are we going to get a Brandon Bean presser on Wednesday on Hump Day? And he said no. He said we're not expecting to hear from anybody until Thursday. He said he didn't think that we would. We got a Bobby Babich interview today, and they asked him, can you elaborate on it was actually the first question on the Milano injury. And he's like, coach talks about that. I don't talk about injuries and who's not playing. He's like, so I'm not even going to go there.
Smart.
Yeah. But there was also a great deal of, in our conversation on the beat about if it's bad, we're going to know it. It's going to leak, right? If it's, he's got a torn pectoral or he's got a torn bicep and he's going to be out, or torn tricep muscle and he's going to be out for 9 weeks or 10 weeks, like it's going to, like, Ian Rappaport's going to report it. Adam Schefter's
there's a lot of times that think when they don't want things to leak out of one Bills drive, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some. Did you know that we were trading Diggs?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, but injury stuff has a tendency to come out. Like there's a
I guess
speculation.
I don't know. I feel like those moments when they don't want things to like when they want to control whatever they want to control.
They seem to do a
That's
good
how it's going
job.
to be.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Like there's been certain guys have played with injuries throughout the year that we didn't even hear about until the end of the season.
Until they had surgery, right? And the end of the year surgery for an ankle that Zach Moss. It seems like Zach Moss comes up every episode, but yeah, Zach Moss was one of those guys. Like, wait, he had an ankle injury that required surgery. What?
I think Jordan had one last year or the year before, and then Beasley and like a
Yep.
bunch of guys. Like at the end of the year, they end up with surgery, and it's like, oh, the Buffalo Bills are being investigated for not reporting. It's like, yo, what
Feliciano,
like,
Feliciano had a shoulder cleanup or had a shoulder
yeah,
injury or something like that. It
every year.
seems that way, but getting back to the topic or getting back to the point, if Milano is injured, who kind of moves into that spot, right? So right now, I believe is it's set up. Dorian Williams is the backup to Milano. However, Dorian Williams is also the backup Mike if something were to happen to Terrell Bernard. Now we know from Tremaine and Milano that they've set this defense up to be like those two positions, those players are interchangeable. It's everybody does the same thing in that role. If your talent and your ability will allow you to. So the idea that Williams is behind Milano, yet the backup Mike as well isn't odd, even though it looks odd on paper. The question is it going to be Balen Spector? Is it going to be Dorian Williams? And it brings up a level of interest for this weekend. It brings up a measure of, well, our eyes are going to focus on Balen Spector and Dorian Williams against the Steelers, right?
Yeah. So my question to you then, like to flip it back around, is like, it's kind of what we talked about earlier. So do you feel if Matt can't go and say it is a little more serious than what we're expecting at this point, just in general, the confidence of this defense, how do you feel going forward? Like, again, it's preseason, so I don't care about the next 2 weeks.
Right.
But I'm not confident, man. And the few snaps that we did see with the bulk of the starting unit, it wasn't anything that made me say, yeah, we're going to be a dominant top. But again, it's preseason. But I'm just saying, I didn't see enough that makes me confident. Last season, these injuries matter. And I don't know. Again, my biggest concern going into the season is the defense. I think everything else is fine, but I don't know how much I trust Spector to play a full. I don't know what the injury is.
Right.
If it's a full season injury, I don't know if I feel confident for this season with the defense constructed as is. I would want the Bills to make a move for another. I don't know if you got a trade at the, which is ugly because
I don't think
we're kind of in some cap hell in a way where we had to make some trades. We cut some people. So cap space situation is not the best. But if you can't go, I don't know if I'm Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott and I sit back and say, yeah, we can go without him this year. It's okay. Like it sucks. He's injured, but the guys we got can really hold the fort down. I don't know if I feel that if I'm them.
I've liked Balen Spector since the first time I recognized that he was on the field. So the first time I noticed him. I'm not saying he's great, but I'm very much intrigued, and this is probably the Terrell Bernard effect. I'm very intrigued in what Dorian Williams is going to bring to this football team, not only this year, but even beyond. And that is not me saying Dorian Williams, can replace Matt Milano after our conversation about Shakir replacing Beasley and who do you replace Diggs with? Like, I'm not saying that there's a replacement for Matt Milano, but I have a great deal of interest in what Dorian Williams is going to bring. You expect the game to further slow down for him year two, first year of installation, just like it did for Terrell Bernard. Now, not everybody is equal. This is the Josh Allen effect. Oh, he's the next Josh Allen. Dorian Williams is not the next Terrell Bernard. So you don't know. And I don't remember who I was talking to. So I was talking to somebody and they were talking about Dorian Williams. It may have been on the beat as well. Josh Reed saying sometimes he gets out there and it looks like you can tell his head's swimming and like he's kind of like his head's on a swivel a little bit because he's a little uncertain. He's not reading and reacting the way Terrell Bernard does. He's still a little bit, thinking, if that makes any sense. But I'll be very intrigued to kind of see, and we'll get to watch it this game. But kind of turning the page to the Steelers game, looking ahead, and you're focusing on these linebackers. Is there another position group that you're going to be focused on, or another player? Where are your eyes going to be focused Saturday?
I'm looking at the defensive line. I don't know if, again, some of the guys that didn't play, if they're gonna play or what, but I want to see our run game look a little bit better. I do want to see just a little bit more of a cohesive unit when you're looking at the defensive unit overall. And then overall, I would like to see a drive where where Josh Allen when we're talking offense now. I do want to see a drive where Josh is like, okay, let's put something together.
Well, I got run last week a little bit, or I should say this week, after the post-game show, in the comment section on YouTube. So if you go to the YouTube now, you can comment right on the videos. And because the big part of what I said was you always see bad football teams from the year before or teams with new coaches, but generally bad football teams with new coaches, teams with new quarterbacks, do well in the preseason because they game plan. And the Bills and good teams like the Bills, Chiefs, whatever, they don't game plan at all. And you heard it from Taron Johnson, you heard it from Coach, you heard it from Josh Allen. All of them were like, we did not game, like we were running. We basically, Conor McGovern said we were calling run plays, snapping the ball and running it right into a defense we knew the play wouldn't work against because we weren't making checks at the line. We weren't doing anything. We were just out there effectively feeling the speed of the game and kind of getting, the helmet strapped on again. I got run because people were like, oh, the Bears weren't like game planning either. I don't mean game planning like you're going into a full-on week 6 game plan, but they're definitely out there running scripted plays that fit the Bears and what they want to see Caleb Williams do and how can we beat a defense, and we're going to do these things. And not that they're tipping their hand, but they're trying to build on a foundation that isn't really there yet, like all bad teams do. And then generally what happens is as the season comes, the switch flips rather, and the bad teams that won in the preseason still aren't good, and the good teams game plan. They turn into themselves. They're like, okay, we're good at this game. You guys are not. Like if the Bills played the Bears in week 3, the Bears aren't beating the Bills 33-6, and Caleb Williams isn't having a field day or looking like an all-star, all-pro out there. So I don't know where I was going with all of that, but hopefully that made sense. But yeah,
it makes sense, and I agree with you.
Talk myself in a corner, but yeah.
Well, no, you're right. They didn't game plan to the point where it was like, down to exactly how it happens in the season. But again, I agree with your point that for them, these reps matter for their quarterback. They matter for
even their defense. Like they said, they were running stunts and playing games and doing different things.
A lot of that matters for them. And it matters because, like, especially on their offensive side, you have that rookie quarterback. And it's one of those things, like you mentioned, they want to see if some of the things that they are installing will fit his skill set and so they want to see those things. So that matters. They're not, like you said, they're not beating us in the season 33-6. It's not happening.
Yeah, and it's game planning, meaning film study and breaking down the players
together.
And
they're saying,
like Josh said, I think he said, I didn't watch any film. Like I didn't watch any film against the Bears, and I promise you, Caleb Williams probably watched some film on the Bills that week before that game, right? Just because they're a bad football team. But for me,
they had a better plan coming in. They actually planned.
Yeah, a little bit, marginally, not full on game plan, but marginally enough to get some foundational work in. So we got a couple more minutes just to talk about Saturday's game against the Steelers at 7:00, I believe, on the NFL Network. Primetime game. Primetime game in the preseason. Funny we didn't count this one as a primetime game for the season, but the wide receiver room to me is going to be interesting again after the big switch up last week. Tyrell Shavers being all the talk of camp, and then all of a sudden KJ Hamler was number 1 on the depth chart, and we were all like, what? Like we talked about it at length last week. What happened? KJ then effectively dropping a pass, muffing a punt, and then bringing in Damiere Byrd. Damiere Byrd is a guy that has bounced around a lot. I believe he spent some time in Carolina. Nope.
Did you see that we worked out Corey Davis?
I did see we worked out Corey Davis, I believe, today. I haven't heard or seen anything after that.
Yeah. Now that's a little interesting to me. I know with the Jets, he wasn't obviously, he didn't give out the things that they were hoping when they drafted him. But talent-wise, I don't know where his head is at. But talent-wise, the guy, he has it.
Yeah.
And and if he's at a point where he's showing up and he's motivated and he wants to do something special, and I don't know. I don't know what to take of that. It's one of those things where it's like maybe almost like a Chase Claypool situation where it's like, all right, this is his last shot type deal, or is it like this? I think Corey Davis was one of those guys that when he was drafted, he almost made some guys nervous. Like, okay, this guy's good. If he links up with a good quarterback, it could be a problem.
Yep.
So in one way, I'm actually a little intrigued by seeing what could happen pairing him with the Josh Allen type quarterback, but I don't know. Like, what were your thoughts at all around it?
It was just interesting to me that because yes, that name rings a bell because I remember him being drafted in fantasy leagues, right? There was a great expectation that he was going to be not the next A.J. Brown, but he was a good football player. So if the Bills can pull somebody in and find success like they've done in the past with guys like John Brown and just different players like that, it would be great. The Bills definitely need help there. Did he leave the building? I believe he left the building without a contract, so who knows what that means, or if the Bills are just sniffing around for the future, if he's still available. But that wide receiver battle is still going to be there. And obviously with with Chase Claypool now out of the mix, it opens the door for somebody that maybe we weren't expecting to kind of fill that role, or for the Bills to only keep 5, right? Now they might potentially keep 5 wide receivers instead of 6, although I can't see them keeping 5. I feel like they're going to keep 6. Another guy that I'm looking forward to seeing is Van Pran-Granger. I thought he played very well. I think he's the heir apparent at that center position. I'm not saying it's going to be this year. If we remember Eric Wood played guard for, I think, a year or 2 before he slid over to center. But I like the fact that he kind of held his own against obviously 3rd and 4th stringers once Connor McGovern left the game. And Frank Gore, I don't know why. I just want to root for this kid. Am I weird for wanting to root for Frank Gore? Frank Gore Jr.?
But it's a good story. And he's good as well. He's a good player.
Right.
He's, so me saying that, I don't want to take anything away from his talent and hard work that he and his father put in, but it's a great story. Everybody loves Frank Gore. Like, unless you were on a rival team of the 49ers for most of his career, most people love Frank Gore. And, for Bills fans, he came here for a year and he was that veteran presence after Shady moved on. And how can you not love him? So to his son to be undrafted, come to Buffalo, the emotions that you saw that night. No, I'm a root for the guy. But I mean, do you think it's tough? It's tough because that's an area where I don't think the team can fit. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like,
Agreed.
I think Ray Davis is there. I think obviously James Cook is there. I think when you have a player, obviously I don't want Kate to beat me up. But when you have a Reggie Gilliam, you know what I'm saying? Like, that guy's making a team. You see what I'm saying? So he's taken, normally it wouldn't be a fullback tight end position. That may have been another running back that made it because of special teams. It sucks, but
you're probably not rostering 4 running backs. That's for sure. I mean, but it's interesting because Andy S says Gore is not fast, but he hits hard and is tough to bring down. Kind of reminds me of Travis Henry, right? That's what Travis Henry, like Travis Henry was going to get 5 yards every play, but he was never going to rip off a 70-yarder. Like he just knew it. Like, that dude is a bowling ball. He's short, stocky, gonna get you, and he had huge legs, tree trunks. He's gonna get you 5 yards. But every time he broke open the open field, he was caught at about 18 yards down the field. It's like, take it.
Yeah, no, I love him, and I think he has a future though. I think, and that's a great comparison to Henry. I think when he finally makes a roster, man, he's going to. Obviously, everyone's going to say, just like his daddy, right? But if you take those glasses off for a moment and you actually compare him to other backs, Henry is a very good, a really good comparison.
Yeah. I love that guy. It's interesting how the Bills have just done a very good job, like throughout this franchise history, with running backs. But and then the last probably quick conversation we can have as we're winding down here, backup quarterback, with the Bills bringing in Ben DiNucci. I don't know what to expect. It's funny because Josh Reed yesterday said that it's going to be a very, very light install for him. He'll probably have a couple plays to choose from, and it'll be more of a get some reps in, but get out of get through the game and get out. And meanwhile, I'm sitting over here and going, dude, freaking Baker Mayfield went to the Rams and won a football game with 3 days. He won a real game. It wasn't a preseason.
It was Thursday Night Football too.
Yes.
I remember watching that game.
Prime time. Yeah.
For the record, I don't know if I said it on Hump Day. I know I've said it publicly. I am a Baker Mayfield fan. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, well.
No, I said it before. He changed me. A lot of what Baker.
I gotta call the police. I think this was one of those Twitters. I'm not being held hostage.
Listen, Baker Mayfield went down to Tampa Bay, and he put his big boy pants on, and he was a leader, and he stopped complaining to the media about being mistreated, and he went out there and won games, and he made the playoffs, and he got a new contract. And when you put your head down and you play like that, I ain't got nothing to say against the man. I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. I'm gonna actually buy a jersey this time. I'm not gonna make one. I'm gonna actually buy it.
I'm not gonna make one. That's I don't know that you made that.
You remember the jersey?
Oh, I know the jersey. I just don't think you made it. You just kind of drew on a piece of plastic.
I mean, hey.
with an orange draw. The orange drawstring was clutch. They were like The Browns,
perfect.
The Browns whites with the orange drawstring. I don't know where you got that from or how that popped in your mind, but that was one of the most epic moments.
That was fun. That was fun.
That's, you want to talk about put something in the Louvre. That's what they should put it. Although now you're a big.
It's old now, but when it was there, that was a moment. That was a fun day. That was a fun day on Twitter.
You should have cut holes in it and wore it, but oh well. Anyways, I guess let's end the show with this question. Where are you at? And I asked it on the Overreaction postgame show on Sunday. Where are you at on Mitch Trubisky? Because for me, I'm not sure this guy's going to win 2 of 4 games.
No, I love Mitch.
Right. I'm not saying not about Mitch the person.
Yeah, no, we love Mitch. Everybody in Buffalo who was around when he and his wife and his family were here, we love Mitch. Good dude.
Right.
No, man, I can't. Like there has to. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, just no. There has to be another option when it comes. And I understand that it was windy, but what I look at when I look at those games when it's like, oh, you can see the ball just in the middle of the throw, you can just see the air just kind of take it. When it's only happening to the Bills, it kind of bothers me when that thing is being said. So
yeah,
it's like, no, at some point when guys show you who they are as a player, it's okay to believe. I've said the same thing about like Gabe Davis and other guys. It's not a bad thing to say that who they are as a player is who they are. Mitch Trubisky, unfortunately, just hasn't shown us that he can be a number one option at quarterback. And really, I don't think he's shown us that he can be a good number 2 option in the event that the number 1 is actually injured for any reason. So I'm not comfortable.
It goes all the way to the Steelers, right? I mean, he wasn't. I mean, as much as we were like, this is the best backup option we could possibly get, getting Mitch Trubisky to back up Josh Allen. And there were times that he would go in and you're like, not so sure. And then he goes to the Steelers and had every opportunity to just seize that job and seize that moment and didn't. And it wasn't a matter. This wasn't football politics where they're like, nope, we're going to go with Kenny Pickett because he's the young guy and he's the guy that we want. Like I feel like they gave him a chance and he couldn't seize the moment. He couldn't take it.
He got the chance and there was an injury. So he got another chance.
Right. That's right.
He couldn't seize the moment. So what you just said about the Bills with running backs, that's the conversation for Pittsburgh. They draft wide receivers well.
Yes.
They always have 2 good wide receivers. Yes. It doesn't matter. If you can't go to Pittsburgh and play quarterback, it speaks volumes about you. It's not the team.
Right.
So yeah, no, I unfortunately, just as a backup QB, I'm not the most comfortable. I don't know about anybody that's out there who could come in and be a better backup right now or whatever, but I know me going into it, I'm not comfortable with Ben. He's going to wear 15 FY, says John. I'm not comfortable, but we'll see.
Yeah. And the good news is Josh Allen is the most durable player, I think, in the NFL by like 50 games. He's got a 50-game lead on the next person since the last person missed a game. Does that make sense? Right. So
it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but it's like I still get concerned because like I understand like those Iron Man type things where it's like, oh, this guy played 200 games straight. But the thing is, Josh Allen doesn't miss games, but last season, Josh Allen had a hurt shoulder. He didn't want to fall certain ways. They didn't want to use him to run. Yep. So even though he's not missing games, there are times where he's beat up. And the way this roster is constructed, I don't know if I feel confident. It's just, I don't know. It's just a different thing when you don't have some of the star power you're used to having. And then the questions on defense for me, I don't think the defense is going to suck. I don't think they're going to be like a bottom 5 defense, but you're missing a lot of the leadership and a lot of the type of things that made you confident every year saying we're going to have at least a top 7 defense.
Yeah.
I don't have that feeling. So if Josh Allen isn't Superman Josh Allen, do I feel, I don't know. That's where it all comes back to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think this year we're not as well constructed of a team as we have been in the past. And, I'm not down on us, but this isn't the year that I'm like division by 3 games. I'm not out here talking crazy.
Yeah. Maggie asks if there's any update on Cole Bishop. There is not, but that's all the time that we've got for the folks this evening on the Hump Day Hotline on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. Any final thoughts there, Jay Spencer King, before I officially get us out of here?
No, man. No, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad we're in the swing of things now. It kind of feels normal again, almost. Yeah. So yeah, let's get to it, man. I'm ready for the season.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us for the Hump Day Hotline. Stay tuned tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Big O Show with Jerry Ostrowski, and then If the Walls Could Talk in Buffalo on Friday at 8 p.m. And then, of course, the Overreaction Buffalo post-game show will be on Sunday, 8 p.m., not Saturday after the game, Sunday at 8 p.m. And not sure who's going to be on, but there will be some various forms of human beings from the Overreaction Network on Sunday for the Overreaction post-game show. But for me, for Jay Spence the King, for everybody here at Overreaction, we love you guys. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.